At my husband's memorial service, my son handed me a patent certificate. Margarita's name was prominently printed on it. I opened the thick patent documents, and all the data I had painstakingly calculated day and night had become her heart and soul. The circuit diagrams I had repeatedly verified over 30 years had become someone else's dowry. My son stood there in a suit. Mom, for someone who does accounting, helping Dad to this extent is already quite remarkable. Now Dad's invention is finally returned to its rightful owner. They are the talented couple from the engineering school. As it should be, the granddaughter, holding a bouquet of white flowers, softly said, "Grandma, all these years you forced Grandpa to give up on Margarita, Grandma. They can finally sign their names openly now. This is the greatest respect for technology workers." With trembling hands, the dense data in the old ledger swayed before my eyes. A sharp pain twisted in my chest, and the world spun around. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in 1993, the day my husband was about to take my research data to Nanjing City to find Margarita. Chapter 1. Sabine. Something's wrong. The workshop is on fire. An intern rushed into the finance office to shout at me. At this moment, I was lost in thought, holding a document. The patent application for the ARM processor developed by the Sunflower Electronics factory has been accepted. Seeing these words, I couldn't hold back my tears. I was reborn at the time when the development plan was just completed. My husband Matthew had not yet handed over the data and drawings I worked on overnight to his beloved to apply for a patent. The intern quickly said, "Sabine, don't cry. Matthew is fine. He has already rescued Margarita. Matthew asked me to tell you to bring the medical kit over." I wiped away my tears and hurriedly locked the documents in the safe. Only then did I follow the intern to the workshop. A crowd of people surrounded the workshop, discussing animatedly. Squeezing through the crowd, I saw two people hugging each other and coughing severely. The woman clutched the man's sleeve tightly, coughing and sobbing at the same time. "Make way. Sabine, the accountant, is here." The intern's shout startled the man into turning his head. Looking at the man's youthful face, I was momentarily lost. This was my once vibrant husband, Matthew. At this moment, he frowned at me. "Didn't I ask you to bring the medical kit? Why did you come empty-handed?" I looked coldly at the two of them, covered in ash. "What use is a medical kit? You should go to the hospital." In my past life, I obediently brought the medical kit. Yet I was still scolded by Matthew for not preparing burn ointment for Margarita. Upon hearing my voice, Margarita peeked out from Matthew's arms. "Sister-in-law, don't blame Matthew. He rushed into the fire to save me." Cough, cough. Matthew gently patted her back. "Don't talk anymore. Let's go to the medical room first." Several old employees looked at each other in dismay. A big sister wanted to step forward to pull them apart, but Matthew dodged her. He just held Margarita and walked towards the medical room. An old employee grabbed me and whispered, "Sabine, you must be careful. This female consultant keeps coming to our workshop every few days. It's obvious she has bad intentions towards your Matthew. If she lures him away, you'll have nowhere to cry." Lure. Matthew has been thinking about Margarita for 30 years, even willing to give her the patent. Who wouldn't be moved by such deep affection? I returned to the office. In the previous life, because of this fire, Margarita's leather trench coat was burned. Grandmother and Matthew forced me to apply for the patent for Margarita. The two of them teamed up to apply for the patent, started a business with this technology, and everything went smoothly. In the end, they became renowned tech entrepreneurs and even appeared on the cover of the Nanjing Business Journal. And me? I'm still an accountant earning a fixed salary, taking care of the child and serving the grandmother, constantly being criticized by the department head, working myself to the bone just to earn those $300 or $400, supporting a family of 4. No, it should be 5. After all, I still have to give Margarita some pocket money. "Sabine, where are you?" Matthew shouted in the medical room. "Come quickly to help Margarita change her clothes. She smells like smoke all over." Hearing this, I was furious and rushed into the medical room. "She's not a 3-year-old child. Does she need me to take care of her?" Matthew was stunned for a moment, looking at me in confusion. "It's just a small favor. Do you have to be so petty? You used to be such a generous person. What's going on today?" I sneered. "Aren't you more generous?" Why don't you go and change for her? Chapter 2. Matthew's forehead veins bulged. Sabine. What nonsense are you talking about? Margarita and I are innocent. We've been married for so many years. How can you still be so unreasonable? Margarita was sobbing uncontrollably in the inner room. I can't live like this. Sister-in-law. How can you think of us this way? How can I stay at the factory now? She cried as she ran out. Matthew. I'm sorry. I've dragged you into this. I shouldn't have come to your factory. Now that my reputation is ruined, I should resign and return to Nanching. Matthew. You must complete that project for me. As she spoke, she was about to rush out of the medical room, but Matthew grabbed her. Matthew shouted at me. Sabine. Are you only happy when you push people to their doom? I rolled my eyes. What did I do? Just because I didn't change her clothes, she's going to die? Matthew, are you being reasonable? I watched this tragic couple perform their drama with indifference. In my past life, I took great care of Margarita, buying her clothes and treating her to meals. But in the end, she still took away my heart and soul. Margarita cried even more sadly, sobbing uncontrollably in Matthew's arms. What happened? Grandmother led the 8-year-old son in. Her face darkened. Matthew, why are you holding Margarita? Let go of her now. The two hurriedly separated, and Matthew explained. Mom, if Margarita hadn't rushed into the fire to save me, I wouldn't be alive. I sneered. Did you save her, or did she save you? Just now in the workshop, she said you rushed into the fire to save her. And now it turns out she saved you. Did you two not get your story straight? Matthew looked livid. Sabine, what's wrong with you today? Why are you targeting Margarita? Didn't you say you would trust me when we got married? I put on a cold face. Matthew, how else do you want me to trust you? 30 years. I have dedicated 30 whole years to this family. Helping him write reports, taking care of the children, managing the household for him. Yet he gave all my heart and soul to someone else and made the children say it was only right and proper. I suppressed my anger and turned to walk out. Matthew watched my back and shouted again. Sabine, go make a cup of honey water for Margarita, and add more rock sugar. Hearing this, I reflexively walked towards the break room, only to realize halfway there, I've lived a whole new life. Why am I still so easily ordered around by him? I laughed at myself mockingly. A habit of 30 years has long been ingrained in my bones. I returned to the medical room with a glass of honey water, and Margarita had already changed into a clean leather trench coat. Seeing the clothes she was wearing, I was furious. Margarita, this is my new coat. Who allowed you to wear it? Matthew said impatiently. I gave it to her. Isn't it convenient that there was a new coat in my office? Those clothes of yours are all from street stalls. Margarita isn't used to wearing them. A new coat, a brand name I saved 3 months' salary to buy, just given away by him like that. Matthew didn't even glance at me, just frowned at the cup. I told you to add more rock sugar. Why didn't you listen? It's so bitter. Margarita can't get used to drinking it. Go make another cup. Margarita tugged at Matthew's sleeve. Forget it. Matthew, we've already troubled sister-in-law a lot today. Matthew spoke gently. It's okay. She's just an accountant. Besides calculating accounts all day, she can't do much else. Making a cup of water is nothing. Come on, drink it up to warm yourself. Margarita gave me a smug glance as she took the glass of water. Matthew didn't even give me a glance. Sabine, Margarita's leather trench coat is still inside. Wash it when you get a chance. By the way, Margarita shouldn't return to the guest house today. Let her work overtime in my office. Ask the cafeteria to prepare more dishes. She's my lifesaver, and you should thank her properly. The two of them sat at the desk discussing as if nothing had happened, while my anger boiled like water. In my past life, how could I have been so blind not to see their flirtations? I grabbed the desk and flipped it over. Overtime? I'll show you what overtime means. Documents scattered all over the floor, and the two of them stared at me in shock. The grandmother rushed in from outside with the son, looking astonished. Matthew quickly put his arm around my shoulder and spoke softly. Sabine, what's wrong with you? You've been off all day. Did the factory dock your bonuses again? Don't worry. Tell me if something's up. It's the same routine, every single time. He always pretends to care and comfort me when I'm on the verge of breaking down. He made me think that I was very important to him. I was deceived by him for a whole 30 years. Chapter 3. I shook off Matthew's hand. It's nothing. I just can't stand your lovey-dovey behavior. Matthew sighed and tried to hug me again. How did I just realize you're such a jealous person? As soon as he said that, the office fell silent. I raised an eyebrow at Margarita, and sure enough, her face turned pale. Grandmother impatiently said, "All right, you two, stop being so affectionate in front of others." The son, however, said with a grin, "Dad is coaxing Mom again." How cheesy! I turned back to the office and threw out Margarita's leather trench coat covered in cigarette ash. Margarita blushed and glanced at Matthew, then sheepishly walked away with the coat. In the evening, I was staring blankly at the patent application when I heard Grandmother and Matthew talking outside. "Matthew, your wife is becoming more and more unreasonable. You're still a section chief at the factory, yet she dares to make a scene in front of outsiders. If you really go to Nanching to start a business, who knows how she'll torment this old lady?" I felt a chill in my heart. In my previous life, I knew I owed the Song family a favor, because Grandmother introduced me to the sunflower factory. I was always obedient to her, never letting her do any housework, and made soup for her every day to nourish her body. For 3 years, Grandmother hasn't even washed a single bowl, but in her heart, I am still an ungrateful person. I heard Matthew say, "Mom, Sabine is not that kind of person. She's just in a bad mood today. Don't take it to heart." "Mom, don't you know her yet? I'm about to apply for this patent and I'm counting on her to find a way to raise the money," the grandmother said. "It's her good fortune to pay you the patent fee. If you hadn't married her, she'd still be doing accounts at the market, living like that for her whole life." I pushed the door open and looked at them coldly. Matthew looked embarrassed, and the grandmother glared at me. Suddenly, a wave of dizziness hit me. My vision went black, and I collapsed to the ground. When I woke up, Matthew, the grandmother, and my mom were all around the bed, smiling at me. I looked up in a daze. Matthew said happily, "No wonder you were so capricious today. It turns out you're pregnant." My mom laughed and said, "Don't I know my own daughter? She's been well-behaved and sensible since she was little. She wouldn't even argue. And she's scared if you raise your voice. Isn't it because she's pregnant that she's acting so impulsively?" Matthew breathed a sigh of relief. "Thank goodness it's like this. Otherwise Margarita might really sue us for sexual harassment, and that would be troublesome." Am I pregnant again? I was stunned. This is indeed the time when I should be pregnant with my second child. Now my son is 8 years old, and I'm pregnant again. How do I apply for this patent? How do I start a company? I touched my belly, recalling the disdainful looks from my children in my past life, and gritted my teeth. Such a child. It's better not to have. My mom patted my head. "Where did you hide that patent document? Take it out. You won't be able to use it anyway." Matthew gently said, "Sabine, you don't have the energy to handle this patent anymore. Why not give it to Margarita? She's been researching this for years. It's just right for her." I suddenly felt a chill in my heart. "I won't give it. If you dare to give her the patent, I'll divorce you." Before I finished speaking, my mom slapped me across the face. "You ungrateful girl. You've grown some nerve, haven't you? How dare you speak like that? It's all because Matthew spoiled you. Even though you're pregnant, I'll still hit you." With tears in my eyes, I questioned, "Why? Why can't I apply for the patent? Why should I give it to someone else?" My mom's voice was even louder. "Because you're a woman. Because you're a mother. Because you're pregnant with a second child. And you still want to start a business? Who would dare to hire you? You're showing your face in public, bringing shame to women." Her words pierced my heart like a knife. Even though I am reborn 30 years later, my mom's words still make my heart ache. The me from 30 years ago and the me now both shout. So what if I'm a woman? So what if I'm a mom? So what if I'm pregnant? These patents are my research. They should belong to me. What's so disgraceful about that? I am proud of myself. I carefully counted the bank book. Only 1,500 yuan. Barely enough for the patent application deposit. But What should I do about the child in my belly? Before I could figure it out, I ran into Margarita in the cafeteria, with a triumphant smile on her face. She walked up to me and whispered, "Sabine, do you really think Matthew cares about you? Dream on. Matthew only has me in his heart. Otherwise, why do you think he gave me all your patent information? You're just a pathetic wretch, stuck in this small factory doing accounting, working as a laborer for the rest of your life." Chapter 4. My heart sank, and I dropped the lunchbox and ran to the office. Panting, I returned to the office and searched through the documents hidden in the lining of my makeup bag. But I couldn't find the patent application documents. I collapsed into the chair, my mind a blank. Outside, I heard my mom talking with Matthew. My daughter still hides things the same way she did when she was a child. Always in the lining. It's easy to find. Matthew's voice carried a hint of guilt. Mom, I gave all the documents to Margarita. I'm afraid Sabine will be angry if she finds out. My mom, however, disagreed. That girl is just too stubborn. Even if she, as a woman, manages to get a patent. So what? Can she start a company? Can a woman manage such a big enterprise? She still has to rely on a man. She's dreaming too big. Don't worry. If she blames you, just say it was me who took it. During the most difficult time for my family, when the factory closed down and both my parents lost their jobs, our entire family relied on my brother delivering newspapers to earn some money. At that time, my mom almost took us to jump off a building. It was Matthew and his mom who saved us. His mother worked as a senior accountant at the sunflower factory for 20 years, and she used her reputation to get me a job. After I joined the factory, those debt collectors no longer dared to cause trouble at my house. Our whole family is deeply grateful to them and complies with their every wish. I have repaid them by working tirelessly for years. Do I still have to be manipulated by them? I don't want to be anyone's tool anymore, nor do I want to work tirelessly for the Song family. Staying at this factory means reliving the tragedy of my past life. I want to apply for a patent and start my own business. But my grandmother is adamantly opposed, and my mother is even less likely to support me. As long as they oppose, the factory won't give me a letter of introduction. I might not even be able to leave the factory gate. Thinking of this, I felt suffocated. Reborn 30 years later, I have forgotten most of the accounting knowledge from back then, and the new technology one knows is now useless. If I retake the accounting certificate exam, I'm not confident I can pass. This time, I must take a gamble. Thinking of this, I sneaked into the technical department after work. Everyone is in the year-end summary meeting now, leaving only Margarita working overtime. I stood at the door and shouted loudly, "Margarita, give me back my drawings, you shameless bitch. Do you think seducing my husband will let you steal my patent?" My voice attracted people from the next office. Margarita was red with anger and rushed at me. "You crazy woman. What nonsense are you spouting? Watch me tear your mouth apart." I nimbly dodged and kicked her in response. "What? Are you angry out of shame? Did I say something wrong? Were you hugging my husband today? Were you also wearing my coat?" The technician who was close to Margarita glared at me. "Sabine, you ungrateful wretch. If it weren't for Margarita saving your husband, he would have burned to death today." I stood with my arms akimbo and said, "Pa, my husband hasn't just started working in the workshop today. Does he need her to save him? She's just trying to take advantage of my husband and trick him into giving her a piece of clothing." "Margarita, give me back the clothes right now." I went up and yanked the jacket off her, looking every bit the shrew. Margarita threw the jacket at me while crying. "Take it back. Who cares?" I sneered. "If you don't care, then why are you wearing it? I'm warning you. Stay away from my husband. I know you two were ambiguous back in college. Now we're both married with children, and you're still trying to seduce him. Have you no shame? You're talking nonsense. You're full of it." Margarita stomped her feet in anger. I took the opportunity to rush into the office, headed straight for her drawer, rummaged through it, and finally retrieved my patent application documents. I was about to leave with the documents when Margarita caught up and tried to snatch them. I threatened to tear them if you dare to grab them. "I'll tear them up." Everyone else called me a thief. I looked at Margarita coldly. They all say I stole something. Do you dare to let them see what this is? Do you dare to say this is yours? Margarita bit her lip and couldn't say a word. She doesn't dare to admit it. If people find out she plagiarized the designs, she can forget about making it in the tech circle for the rest of her life. Seeing her like this, I snorted coldly. Margarita, this is my heart and soul, and you'll never take it away. Chapter 5. In the middle of the night, my office phone suddenly rang. An urgent female voice shouted, "Matthew, go to the hospital quickly. Margarita has taken sleeping pills to commit suicide." Matthew was startled awake and rushed out without even having time to put on a coat. I was taken aback, then slowly lay back in bed and locked the door from the inside. The hardest days are still ahead. Before dawn, it was already bustling downstairs. Matthew was knocking on my door. "Sabine, what exactly did you say to Margarita yesterday? Are you only satisfied when you drive someone to despair?" Yawning, I said, "Isn't she still alive? Why are you making a fuss? Always threatening suicide. Maybe it's because her shady dealings were exposed by me, and now she's too ashamed to face anyone." Matthew looked at me in shock. "Sabine, I thought you were different from those gossiping women. You're an educated professional woman. How can you be so vulgar and snobbish now?" I leaned against the door frame with my arms crossed. "Yeah, that's just how I am. It's too late to see it now. We've been married for 4 years." Mother-in-law slapped her thigh in anger. "Oh dear. How can you talk to your husband like that? What a misfortune for the family." "What a misfortune?" The factory director hurried in from outside. Looking serious, "Margarita is still in the hospital, saying she was driven to despair by your family, Sabine. And the technical department is in an uproar. You need to think about how to explain to Margarita." I didn't wait for Matthew to speak. "Director, I didn't force her. I just wanted my things back. If she wants to commit suicide, what does that have to do with me?" Matthew remained silent, only looking at me with disappointment. Seeing that familiar look, my heart trembled, and I instinctively lowered my head. In the past life, whenever he looked at me like that, I felt I had done something wrong, and I didn't dare to speak loudly, always wondering if I had upset him somehow. But now, I shouldn't let him affect me anymore. I looked up and said to the factory manager, "Manager, it's her causing all this commotion now. You should ask her what exactly she wants." The manager sighed and turned away, saying, "Let Matthew tell you." Matthew impatiently said, "Margarita didn't say anything, but the technicians said you ruined her reputation and must compensate." I remained silent, waiting for him to continue. "They are asking you to voluntarily give the patent application to Margarita, so she can apply for it." I sneered. "Do I also have to give her some money as a patent fee?" Matthew's voice softened. "It's good that you think this way. I know it's easy to overthink when you're pregnant, so I didn't tell you when I gave the information to Margarita. Who knew you would take it back again? She doesn't want much money. Just $200. What? $200? Where would our family get that kind of money? You tell Margarita." "No way." Grandmother was the first to get anxious. Matthew looked helplessly at his mom. "Mom, please don't make things worse at this time." Grandmother was indignant. "What do you mean causing trouble? This is extortion. What does it matter to us if she threatens to die? At most, give her the patent." It turned out that everyone knew the information was given to Margarita, except for me, who was kept in the dark. Matthew said, "Mom, Margarita's salary isn't high, and she hasn't saved much over the years. We can't let her apply empty-handed." Grandmother muttered, "That's her problem." Watching this mother and son decide in a few words to give away my heart and soul again, they knew I disagreed, even took the information back. Yet they didn't even ask me once. There is an indescribable bitterness in my heart. In my past life, was I also like this, having no status in this family? I pushed them aside and walked out. "I disagree. Why should my patent be given to her? I want to ask her, what right does she have to apply for my heart and soul?" Matthew grabbed me and lowered his voice. "Sabine, do you really want to push someone to their death before you're satisfied?" I retorted, "What did I do? I'm just asking for my things back." "Is that called pushing someone?" Matthew impatiently said, "You said those things in the office, rummaged through people's drawers, and ruined their reputation. What more do you want?" I am telling the truth. I shook off his hand. It was me. I ruined her reputation. All right? Matthew suddenly raised his voice. I sneered. All right then. Since it's your fault, you fix it. Grandmother was upset. Sabine, what are you saying? A man's business is your business. I need to talk to your mother and see how she teaches her daughter. How she teaches her to be so unruly. She doesn't need to look for her. My mother is already here. They discussed it for a while and finally decided to give Margarita 200 yuan, along with my patent application. My mom apologized to both my grandmother and Matthew while glaring at me fiercely. I know that later she will definitely call me aside to scold me for not remembering the great kindness and virtue of the Song family. Chapter 6. I cried to my mom. Mom, I know that without the Song family, we wouldn't have the life we have now. I've been repaying their kindness all these years. Our family even covered Matthew's research and development expenses. Mom, I also want to start my own business. Can't you support me just this once? When my company grows bigger in the future, I will definitely repay the Song family doubly. In my past life, I was a pitiful person living paycheck to paycheck, unable to even afford your medical treatment, and could only watch helplessly as you suffered. In this life, I want to rely on my own abilities to give my family a good life. My mom slapped me across the face and stormed off. Matthew came in holding a glass of milk. Looking troubled, Sabine, I've always known you have a great business mind. But you're pregnant now. Can't you think about the child? Besides, Sonny is only 8 years old and needs someone to look after him. Are you really willing to leave him to start a business? At this moment, my son also ran in, clinging to my arm and whining, Mom, stay with me. Looking at his innocent appearance, my heart softened. He is not yet the traitor he will become in 30 years. I should not hate him. I patted my son's head and firmly said to Matthew, Matthew, no matter what, I will start my own business. Matthew broke down and said, Didn't you say you were just researching this technology to help me improve the product? Why are you now using it for yourself? How can you go back on your word? I bit my lip and said nothing. Matthew, you are the least qualified to say I am untrustworthy. Matthew was silent for a moment, then came over and hugged me. Sabine, I agree with you on everything else. But not this. We are married. And if you run off to start a business, leaving mom and the child at home, what will it look like? What will people at work say? Be good. Listen to me. And when Margarita and I succeed with our project, I'll take you to Nanjing to develop. Sabine, I know you are the most sensible, right? You treat me the best. Rest assured, I will always remember your kindness. Help me take care of the house, and I will never leave you in this lifetime. Give me the information. I looked up at him, a faint cold smile on my lips. Matthew seemed very devoted, never leaving me until death in a past life. But he always had Margarita in his heart. I said, Matthew, how about this? I start a business, and you stay home to take care of the child and manage the household. What do you think? Matthew's face changed dramatically. What a joke. You, a woman, start a business. Seeing me staring at him intently, he softened his tone. Sabine, in which family is it not the man who works outside while the woman stays home to take care of the family? You want me to be a house husband. How will people see me? You're a woman. You should stay at home. I sneered. Women can't start businesses. Then why did you give my information to Margarita? Matthew's face turned pale and then flushed. Unable to speak, Matthew reached out to me. Sabine, no matter how much I try to persuade you, you won't listen. Why are you so stubborn? Just give me the information. Stop making a fuss. Will you? I looked at him coldly. Either let me start a business, or we get a divorce. Your choice. Matthew was stunned. Sabine, are you crazy? Why get a divorce when everything is going well? Divorce. Then divorce. The son suddenly rushed in from outside and hugged Margarita's leg. I want a mess. Margarita to be my mom. I gasped, clenching my fists tightly. Upon closer inspection, the innocence in the son's eyes was long gone, replaced by deep calculation. This child, could it be that he has also been reborn? He was still shouting, Dad, I want Margarita. I don't want anyone else. Matthew quickly pulled him away and repeatedly apologized to Margarita, saying, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The child doesn't understand. Please don't mind." Margarita looked at the father and son, her face completely flushed. I coldly watched this perfect couple, only feeling like an outsider, seeing the indifferent look in my son's eyes. I suddenly thought, could it be that Matthew has also been reborn? If he really has been reborn, would he still be the same as in his past life? Chapter 7. I didn't wait for news of Matthew's rebirth, but instead, I waited for the technical department people to surround his office. They said Matthew sexually harassed Margarita and wanted him to take responsibility. The technician angrily said, "We are intellectuals who graduated from key national universities to support local industrial construction. Yet you bully our technical consultants like this. We will report you to the Labor Bureau." It turned out that on that day, Matthew and Margarita were hugging each other in the darkroom of the laboratory and were seen by someone. Since then, Margarita has been in tears, and the people in the technical department all thought Matthew assaulted her. In addition to my insults to Margarita a few days ago, everyone thought it was Matthew who abandoned her after seducing her. This is how it ended up in the factory director's office. I calmly asked the technician, "Matthew is already married. What responsibility do you want him to take? Do you want him to marry Margarita?" The technicians looked at each other, and the leader cleared his throat. Margarita said it was a misunderstanding, and we don't want to make a big deal out of it. You pay 20,000 yuan as an apology to Margarita. No way. Even if I had it, I wouldn't give it. I directly refused. The person angrily said, "Since you're unwilling to part with the money, we'll go to the Public Security Bureau. Sexual harassment can land you in jail." I shrugged and said, "Anyway, I have no money. Report it wherever you want." Matthew looked at me painfully. "Sabine, how can you be so heartless? Do you want me to end up in jail?" I deliberately leaned in and said, "They won't really report it. Margarita loves you so much. How could she bear to see you in jail?" The technician was so angry at my firmness that he stomped his feet. "We're going to the Public Security Bureau right now. Don't regret it." Just as he was about to leave, grandmother rushed in. "No, you can't go." She came up and slapped me. "Sabine, you ungrateful wretch. If it weren't for our family's help, you'd still be doing accounts at the market. How dare you try to harm my son? You wicked woman." I dodged her slap. "Mom, you wronged me. It was Matthew who was caught being indiscreet. What does it have to do with me?" Grandmother was furious. "How is it not your business? They want money, and you still don't hurry to give it." I said I had no money, and grandmother told me to borrow from my mom. I took a deep breath and firmly refused. When I got married, my mom emptied her savings for my dowry, which was worth 50,000. If it weren't for that money, the Song family would have gone bankrupt long ago. Matthew wouldn't have had the chance to become a section chief at this factory. Seeing that I refused, Matthew looked at me sadly, lowered his head, and said, "You can sue us." "No, Matthew." Margarita suddenly appeared at the door, tearfully explaining, "I was the one who was overwhelmed by the chemicals in the darkroom. Matthew just supported me. He didn't assault me. You misunderstood." After speaking, she sobbed and limped away. Matthew wanted to chase after her, reached out his hand but pulled it back, squatting on the ground, holding his head and crying bitterly. My calf hurt, and when I looked down, it was my son kicking me. He cursed angrily. "Bad woman. Bad woman." Margarita's reputation was still ruined. A salesperson stopped her in the parking lot and got handsy. Fortunately, Matthew arrived in time and chased the person away. Margarita coldly told Matthew to stay away from her, saying she was now a disgraced woman, while Matthew was about to go to Nanjing to start his business. With a bright future ahead, she cried and said, "Matthew, we are ultimately people from two different worlds. Let's part ways here. You must take care and fulfill my dreams for me. Forget about me." That person just said he doesn't care about my reputation and is willing to marry me. "I'm going to marry him." Matthew grabbed her and kissed her. "No, I won't allow it." The salesperson, his colleague, and I were right next to them, watching as they kissed passionately. My mom and grandmother knelt down to beg me not to divorce. As long as I give the patent to Margarita, she will marry the salesperson and never see Matthew again. I don't believe her nonsense. In my past life, she also said she wouldn't see Matthew again when she took away my heart and soul. But haven't they been entangled for 30 years? My mom slapped me repeatedly. How did I give birth to such an ungrateful child? You're already a mother, yet you still think about entrepreneurship all day. If you leave, what will happen to this family? Where will you find another man as good as Matthew if you let him go? Sabine, listen to your mom. Mom won't harm you. Stop making a fuss and think about the child in your belly. Actually, there's no need to think about it anymore. I already felt a sharp pain in my abdomen. The traditional Chinese medicine I took finally took effect. Seeing the bloodstains at my feet, my son showed a complex expression. I smiled at him. This time, nothing can bind me anymore. I finally divorced Matthew. Amid my mom's sighs, I moved back to my parents' home. Chapter 8. Half a month later, I sold all my jewelry to scrape together 10,000 yuan as startup capital and went to Nan City with the patent application. On the day I left, not a single person saw me off. Though the spring was chilly, my heart was burning with passion. The road I traveled was difficult, but I have no regrets. This departure lasted 10 years. 10 years later, when I returned to the sunflower factory, I was accompanied by armed bodyguards. After arriving in Nanjing, I didn't follow the conventional path of starting a company. Instead, I organized the memories of my past life into technical proposals and submitted them to venture capitalists. Over these 10 years, I helped the domestic electronics industry avoid countless detours, developed new types of displays, improved circuit boards, and created microprocessors. These technologies happened to be the direction of Matthew's research back then, which I secretly noted down while organizing accounts. In the 30 years of my past life, China's electronics industry advanced rapidly. I remembered every key milestone and provided a clear direction for those who came after. Everyone followed this path and progressed triumphantly. I became the youngest female entrepreneur in the country with the most patents. I was a high-tech entrepreneur supported by the state. I met Matthew again. I thought he was the chief engineer, just like in my past life. Unexpectedly, he was just an ordinary technician and had 2 children. Originally, before he married Margarita, Margarita's family came to demand a dowry of 200,000 yuan and even took his patent information, giving it all to Margarita's brother. If he didn't pay, they threatened to accuse him of sexual harassment. Matthew wanted to make a comeback on his own, but he was so overwhelmed with household matters that he had no time for research and development. Every year he talked about starting a business, but every year Margarita found various reasons to hold him back until the technology became outdated, and he had to resign himself to fate. Both of them were frustrated and unfulfilled in the small factory. As for my son, at a young age, he had to take care of his younger siblings and serve Margarita by bringing her tea and water. When he saw me again, he shyly rubbed his hands and looked up at me. Mom, you're amazing. I saw your name in the Economic Times, and I never dreamed my mom could be so outstanding. Mom, are you here to pick me up? I've packed my luggage. We can leave now. I shook my head. I still have a company to manage. I don't have time to take care of a child. Besides, here you can enjoy your dad and Margarita's sweet life. The son was utterly disappointed. Mom, you see what kind of life I'm living now. I really can't take it anymore. Please take me away. I've been waiting for you all these years, I said with a smile. Didn't you choose this yourself? The son, exasperated, said, Mom, you were reborn too, weren't you? How could you be so selfish? You stole Dad's future. I let out a cold laugh and ignored him. Matthew stood nervously in front of me. Sabine, you're back. Do you want to come over to the house? I shook my head and refused. These 10 years have allowed me to let go of the resentment from my past life. I turned and left. Behind me, I heard the sound of Margarita arguing with him. I returned home, looked at my mom, whose hair was now completely white, and said, Mom, I'm back. I've been doing well all these years. See, without relying on a man, I can still have a career, Mom said with tears in her eyes. I'm sorry. I almost ruined you back then. I hugged her tightly. It's okay. You did it for my own good. It's just that, in your era, marrying into a good family was considered the best destiny for a woman. Mom, look. We women can also be our own support. The meaning of being reborn is not to make those who hurt me regret, but to live a brilliant life myself. Matthew Extra. When I woke up in the hospital that day, I vaguely saw a white figure and thought it was Sabine. When I opened my eyes, it was Margarita holding our little daughter and crying. I suddenly remembered. I have cancer, and I'm almost at the end. The ward is very quiet, with only the ticking of the instruments audible. That sound is like a hammer, pounding on my heart, one beat at a time. When did it start to become like this? It probably started with that fire. That day, if I hadn't tried to please Margarita by deliberately running into the fire to save her, Sabine wouldn't have taken the patent back. If I had been a bit more cautious and not let anyone see me hugging Margarita. The ridiculous thing is, at the time, I thought I was so impressive, thinking I could have it both ways. Who knew that a single misstep could lead to eternal regret? Over the years, watching Sabine on television, I always find myself in a daze. That woman working hard in Nanjing, the entrepreneur known as the mother of Chinese chips, the tech expert who commands the stage at international conferences. Is she really the woman who was once my wife? Margarita later told me that those patents originally belonged to Sabine. Her own research, her written plans. I was merely an assistant, but at the time, I was blind and thought Margarita was my true love, and I actually helped her steal Sabine's heart and soul. My son came in, glaring at me. Dad, do you know why I've always hated you? I closed my eyes powerlessly. I know. Of course I know. In a past life, you and Margarita teamed up to take everything from Mom. You forced her to stay home and take care of the family, yet gave all the credit to Margarita. My sister and I also helped you bully Mom. In this life, Mom left early, yet you all are living so miserably. Tell me, isn't this karma? My tears finally fell. Yes, this is karma. Margarita went mad upon hearing this and lunged at her son, tearing at him. What nonsense are you talking about? What past and present life? I weakly said. Stop fighting. I remember everything now. The elegantly dressed Margarita was gone, replaced by a shrewish, vulgar woman. Is this her true face? Matthew, what's wrong with you? Don't believe the nonsense your son is spouting. It's all that bitch Sabine who taught him. I suddenly shivered. Leave. Take the children and go. I don't want to see you again. From the moment of rebirth, we were destined to lose, because we were all too selfish, only thinking about possession, not understanding how to give. I close my eyes, and all I see in my mind is the back of Sabine as she left. That day, she wore a white dress and walked away without looking back. Thinking about it now, she was right to leave. The ward fell silent again, and I knew my days were numbered. Let this life end in regret. Sabine, I'm sorry. I finally understand that some people, once missed, are lost for a lifetime. The machine emitted a long beep, and my consciousness gradually blurred. This time, I finally resigned myself to defeat.